started. Do you get the notification now?
Yeah, now it's ready. Okay, cool. Sorry.
And
Yeah.
can you guys please confirm if you can see my screen? And
Yes,
am I?
Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so
All good.
much. I'll just go into presentation mode. Okay. So, yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today for this platform community learning day that we've organized for the first time, I believe, in the Indian time zone, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm thankful for all for staying up throughout. And I hope you're not bored, and it has been exciting for you to learn from all the various experts that have been sharing. And the best part being, we have been talking on all topics per platform. So it is not really a particular component of Power Platform, but we have really touched upon everything. And what I'm going to talk about is the AI Builder. I would say it's one of the most recent additions, and if I'm not wrong, it actually went GA only recently in April. To tell you a bit about myself, I run a company called Dinogic, and we are a Dynamics 365 ISV, 8-time business application MVP, been in business for over 20 years now, with a background of ERP CRM solutions. These are the social media handles where you can reach out to me and my team for any queries. So let me go ahead and start with the presentation on the topic. So that's AI Builder. It's basically AI models for automation. Now, before we go further into AI Builder, I would like to start with a few facts on AI Builder. Now, the thing about AI, so AI, if we see, it's like a buzzword in today's world. Everybody is talking about AI, and it is even businesses. So till now, AI Builder had been the domain of certain experts, or it was considered to be, and it is still probably a data scientist. It required a data scientist and a expert in that area to really get into and talk about AI. But what with AI Builder, what Microsoft has tried to do is to bring this technology into business applications where it's most used. It is built on the strength of Azure AI capabilities. So Azure AI has been along in the Microsoft stack for a while now, and this is really a wrapper around. So like in the previous session, if you'd been around, Dipesh was talking about how everything is a wrapper around something, and AI Builder is actually a wrapper around the Azure AI platform available in the Microsoft stack. Now, with AI Builder, what you would be able to do is, without having really a pro code or a developer background or a knowledge or a data scientist knowledge, you can actually go ahead and train and build a no code model. So with the help of a few clicks, you can just get your models going, and enhance the intelligence of your business applications with the power of these models and the AI intelligence behind it. Now, AI Builder is actually a add-on subscription, and it can be added independently to your Power Apps plan. So it does not come inbuilt with your D365 subscription. If you have one, you need AI credits, and it's only when you have these AI credits you will be able to execute the AI models and AI flows to actually get the results. Another thing to note is that AI Builder is currently available in selected geos only. In fact, until April, it wasn't even available in the in the Indian data center. So if you had a subscription on the crm8.dynamics.com, this you would see a message that said that AI Builder is not available in this region. But while working on the demos for this presentation just a couple of weeks back, I noticed that this is now available. So that's a good thing for us based in the India data center. Moving forward, so like I said, the whole idea about AI Builder is what Microsoft tries to use the term democratization of AI, which means that we do not want AI to be in the hands of only the few privileged data scientists or developers that's there, but we want to make it open and easily accessible to power users across the board to be able to use and design their own models and take advantage of the AI capabilities. Now, to make for ease of use and for democratization of AI, it was essential that it is something which they develop, which is easy to use, that does not have a very high learning curve, and it is, like we said, it has to be a power user centric, and so that they can just go about and there is ease of adoption. So a few points over here to help with democratization of AI has been a drag and drop interface for building models. So just like it is carrying forward from the idea of Power Automate, where it has always been about drag and drop actions around, and you have your business logic implemented. Similarly, it's all about drag and drop interface to help build your models and train your models. As I've said already, there's no background of a data scientist required, though having this would be beneficial to you in helping it, but that's not a prerequisite. Now, to ease with the adoption and to improve the adoption of AI Builder, Microsoft has actually made some common business case models shipped along. So there are, when you go to and I'm going to show you in that in a demo later in the session, they have some business case models, and these are real business case models. So these are not your sample Hello World apps that you're talking about, but these are real business case models which you can just pick up and they are ready to go. So that just helps in the adoption better. And so once you have these AI models defined, you can actually consume it from both your Canvas apps, Power Apps, as well as your Power Automate flows. And I'm going to touch upon both of these examples in this demo later. So what are the various AI models that are supported? These are 4 AI models, different types of AI models that are supported: form processing, object detection, prediction, and text classification. I'm going to touch upon each of these in the slides here. Form processing. Now, what do you mean by form processing? So I will take this example of, it's actually, I'm not sure how much you follow the community and the social updates that's going on, but I just saw an update from Eliza, MVP Eliza, based out of New Zealand, and she was talking about how she has automated using form processing. She has actually automated those IRS forms that they have in New Zealand. So an example of form processing is basically traditionally either there were paper forms or now there are PDFs that people want you to fill. But however, the data entered in these PDF forms need to be actually submitted to a database, and this process usually has been manual driven. So there is somebody who's reading through these PDFs and actually the data actually entering them manually into the systems. Or if not, if they wanted an automation in place, then it required expensive developer resources, which would actually go about writing a program that would read through the PDF forms and actually capture the data from there and submit it to the backend application. With form processing, this has been the entire process has been automated to the extent that it will take not more than 30 minutes for you to actually get up and running, and with everything with and you can have your form up ready. So the form processing, you can have the have people submit a PDF form, and you can either have them show up in a Canvas app that this is the data that we have read, and click submit to submit it, or you could just simply have a Power Automate flow set up that would just read all of these PDFs that are stored in a SharePoint location. It reads through all of this PDFs. You have the model form processing model. You have created a model that describes the layout of the forms and how and you have trained the model to see how to read the various values out of these forms, and it will automatically submit this data back into the database without you requiring to do absolutely anything, just the one-time process of training your model. So form processing currently supports PDF format, so you need to submit your forms in a PDF format. It requires a minimum of 5 PDF documents to train the model on the layout of the form and identify the values from the form. So in my example, in my demo, I'm not really touching upon form processing because this is something that we have seen around in almost every demo that talks about AI Builder. So I have not chosen this to be one of it, but if you can see in the screenshot over here, the idea is when you submit these forms, it will give you the ability to choose, it will automatically highlight what it considers to be data values to be automated or read from the form, and then you can actually just right click, you can select whatever they have suggested, and then add a variable to it, name that this is, so as you can see over here, the name field over here, Alan, has been highlighted. So this is something that is the green highlight is something that is automatically done for you by the AI platform, and all you need to do is right click and create a variable and say, okay, this is name field. And then similarly, it will highlight all the others. If it does not highlight any of your data values, you have the ability to go ahead and select them. So you have the ability to actually customize and train your model the way you want to, in case there are options that the AI model does not automatically identify as the data value to be read from the PDF form. Now, once the model has been trained, when you submit this form based on how you had trained it and trained it, as in, so as you can see in this example, I had trained it that any value over here, this Alan, is actually considered to be named. So whenever a form is submitted, it looks for those it looks for those values over there and considers them to be name and identifies that identifies the name from the PDF that you have submitted. Now, this name value that it returns in the form of the data that has been read from your form can actually later be used as a part of another Power Automate flow. And so it is like the output value. So in the input, it's the PDF that you've given as the submitted as the input, and as an output, you would get the a JSON of the entire values that it has read from the PDF. So moving forward, the next one is object detection. Now, in object detection, so one of the very popular examples that Microsoft uses for object detection of real world implementation and adding of business value has been the G&J Pepsi IT team, where they actually used it, where they used the AI Builder and the object detection model to actually do the inventory count. So they would just go take pictures of the bottles around and it would automatically count it up, and that's how they did their inventory count. So this is a very popular example that Microsoft has always talked about in their promotions for the AI Builder. Now, what does object detection do? Object detection is about identifying objects. So you could take so here in this example that they're talking about, so if you see there are three cans that they have over here. So all of them are cans, but they have 3 different colors. One is the rose, mint, and the third one is synonym. So you can train your you can give various image. You can submit various images of an object, and then you will train your model that this is called green tea, or this is called green tea rose or green tea mint. So that next time somebody submits an object based on the way you had trained your model, it can automatically identify it if it was a mint tea or a rose tea. So this helps with like I said, the example, a very good example being inventory counts, taking your inventory counts by just taking pictures instead of manually physically counting every container or can that is available in stock on your shelf. So I'm going to do an example of this in as a demo later in the presentation. Now, for object detection, it is a minimum of 15 sample images of each object that you want the model to identify needs to be submitted. The model, once trained, will return the list of the objects identified. So, in this case, it will also return the confidence score. So, with the help of the confidence score, you can also it helps you evaluate whether it has been a proper detection of the object, or is it not? If the confidence score is low, it gives you enough enough capabilities to see that, take appropriate actions, whether you really want to put it for a second round of check and manual check rather than just accept what the automated AI model results are. So this is all about the object detection model that is being made available. The third model that it supports is prediction model. So what do you mean by prediction? Prediction is about outcomes. So you give a certain set of data, and then based on that data, you get the system to predict on the outcome. So usually what you will do is you will have some historical data with you, which says that, so here in this example that we have over here, the system is predicting the fault probability. So so as a part of the data, you have the quality indicators. So depending on the various values of these indicators, and based on the past historical data that has been submitted to the model for training, it gets an idea that depending on the various values between the various indicators, what is usually the fault probability. So once you have trained it, so next time when you enter records in your system, the AI model, based on the historical data, can actually predict that what could be the next case for this particular record. So this is another AI model that has been made available as part of the AI builder. Now, to train this model, you need to have a minimum of 50 records in CDS, and in all of the models, I'm only including the minimum records. But yes, the more the data, the better your model will be trained. So it is important that you submit as much as data as possible to train, to improve the confidence score and for better results out of your AI models. Now, the next one here is text classification. So what does text classification do is basically, based on the text that is submitted, it will pick out tags. So if you may have seen, these days tags are extremely important to help identify and classify data. So if you've been on a forum, if you've been on any forum, Dynamics forum, community forum that we have, there are always tags associated, and the moderators always request that please tag your post, so that we are able to, say if somebody is searching about AI builder, they can just search for those tags and they can get all the posts, all the queries, all the questions that have been around for that particular keyword or tag. So text classification helps you with automatic creation of tags based on the content that is submitted. in this case, it requires again a minimum of 100 text samples to be associated along with the tag. So you will give the text and the proposed tags that or the expected tags that you would like given a particular sentence or a statement. So with this the model gets trained, and so that next time when you just simply submit a text, it will automatically suggest the tags to be used. So before I go further, Jiva, are there any queries that you would like to take me to take up?
Yes, Rohit, there's just one.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are the languages supported in AI Builder? This is from Koa, from Vietnam.
Okay, so right now there is English and there is a list of other languages. I do not remember them offhand, but if you go on the AI Builder page, the countries, the regions, and the text languages, all of them have been listed over there. So that would be a good source for you.
Thank you, Rohit. Yeah, so far so good. You can continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So moving forward, like I said, to ease the adoption of AI Builder, Microsoft has also set up these ready-to-use AI models. So these are some of them. The business card reader. So a practical example of business card reader is Microsoft already embedding the business card reader in the model-driven app. So I'm not sure how many of you have already used it, but you can actually scan your business card reader right now from your model-driven apps and get the data automatically added to your forms. So this is directly, as the word suggests, it is ready to use. You don't really need to do anything. Just pick it up and there it is. The next being entity extraction. Now, what do you mean by entity extraction? Entity means, take for example, this entity extraction could be of a Power Virtual Agent could be a very good example where this could be. So say a chat bot, okay? Now, if somebody asks a question, something like, when is the next flight to Mumbai? Or something of what time is the next flight to Mumbai? So Mumbai can be is an entity, okay? It's a region, it's a place. It can be identified as a place, and again time. Can you book me a table for 3:50 p.m. So 3:50 p.m. is a time which is an entity. So entity extraction is that is what you mean by entity extraction, where it will actually pick up your keywords or from the text. Now key phrase extraction is another one. Language detection. So you can detect languages, and again, just like the question that was there, which are the languages that it works on. So it works on English for sure, and you need to check out the Microsoft site for the list of the other languages that are available. But of course, and I will definitely add over there that even though the list of languages and regions are limited for the moment, they are going to be extended further. So just like I said, it wasn't available in the Indian data center until April. So I believe with the GA and the April 2nd release, it probably moved to the India data center as well. Sentiment analysis. So there is a ready-made model which will do sentiment analysis. So when you type some text, it will automatically detect the sentiment out of it. Now, I am going to include an example of this one. Again, I'm going to use the ready-to-use AI model in my demo just to show that I'm not doing anything and it does everything. I just have to activate it. Once activated, it actually does its job right away. Then there is text recognition. Text recognition is like your OCR. So you give so give an image and it will detect the text out of it. I'm going to include this example in my demo later. Now, so we did talk about the various models that are available. Now let's talk about, okay, the models are there. I have trained them. What do I do with it next? So how do I consume these models? So one of the ways of consuming these is Power Automate. So in the CDS connector that you have, and you need to use the Common Data Service correct connector. When you look up Common Data Service in the connectors in Power Automate, you will find more than one. Please be sure to use the Common Data Service current connector always. This is the most recent connector, and this is the connector which is going to get all the updates moving forward. So predict is an action in this connector, and that lets you select the model that you have defined. It should be available in your environment. So it will list out all the models that are available, and then you could use it for further automation. So I just in the earlier slides I gave an example of how you could use the SharePoint connector in your Power Automate. Begin with it. The SharePoint connector will loop through all of the files in a given folder. These are the PDF files. The PDF files can then be sent to this predict action, and here in the model you could use the form processing model, and for the results of that, again, you can use in the next steps of your Power Automate flow and consume the results out of it. So this is one way of using the results out of an AI Builder model. The next one being Power Apps. So you can, again, Microsoft is doing every bit to make it so easy to use that there is no reason why you would not want to use it. So as you can see in this example, in the screenshot that I have included below, there is a new section of controls that is being added called AI Builder, and you actually have these controls. So you don't even have to do anything. You just drag and drop and you're done. It's literally that. You just drag and drop. You don't do absolutely anything. The only thing that you need to associate later is give the name of the model that you want this control to use. That's it. And it will do everything for you. And I'm going to just demonstrate that in the demo later here. So here are three examples that I'm going to choose in my demo. So the first one being object detection. In this, we are going to detect an image uploaded to a record in a CDS and store the tags. So what I'm going to here, I'm going to pick up some images of vehicles. Okay, and I have trained them in so our popular mode of transport in India being the auto rickshaw and the four-wheeler car. So I have taken images of these two vehicles, and in this demo, what it's going to do is when I submit the screenshot the image of auto, it's actually going to detect that this was an auto and is going to store. I'm going to store the results that this object detection, the model returns in a field in the CDS. And the next one is going to be text recognition again. So consuming the same images that I have of vehicles. So cars, I'm going to give an example. I'm a designer Canvas app where I'm going to upload images. It's going to read the number plate from the image. And what I've done is I have stored these number plate, these vehicle numbers as fields in CDS. So with every contact, I have associated the vehicle number. So it is going to read the text recognition is going to return the number from the number plate. This number I'm going to go back and read in the CDS contact database and return the name of the contact against which the vehicle is registered. And finally, in sentiment analysis, I have changed this example. So earlier I was going to do process incoming mails and raise alerts for negative sentiments. But instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a social media example. So it is going to actually process tweets and then it is going to do the sentiment analysis on the tweet, and if there is a negative tweet or negative sentiment detected, it is going to send an email out. So here are the 3 demos that I'm going to go about with. Jiva, before I switch to the demo, are there is there any are there any queries or something that you want me to? Okay, this is
there
my.
are a couple of questions.
Okay, just okay. So.
Do you want to take it or you want to?
Sorry. Yeah, I want to take it. I was just trying to understand how do I get out of this presentation mode. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So there is one from Sachin. So actually, it's not a question. He's asking: Is do you have any examples for healthcare with respect to AI Builder?
So I have, to be honest, I have not really implemented this in a real world, and do not have much exposure to the healthcare industry. But if there is, I'm sure there will be ways in which this could be used. If you could give some business scenarios, I can help you if the AI builder could help you with any of these scenarios.
Yeah, Sachin or anyone in the call. So we will be we have been flashing the URLs for the Dynamics 365 Champs, Kaizala, and LinkedIn. So any queries or any assistance you need, you can always drop in there. And there are lots of experts in the different areas of technology and different areas of industry who can help you with that. So we'll be flashing that also as well after Rui's session. And Rui, there is one more question from Naresh Soni. So is AI Builder okay? Can AI Builder be integrated? Yeah.
Sorry, Jiva, Ambesh here. So, just to add Sachin's query, like if you can get connected to the Kaizala group, I can give the answers for AI in healthcare. So we have a very good example, and Microsoft is really investing a lot of on them. So we can give all the details there to the Kaizala group, so we can connect there.
Perfect. Thank you, Naresh.
Thank
And yeah, so there is thank you, Ambish, and there is one more from Naresh Soni. Can AI Builder be integrated with ASP.NET application or web applications?
Can AI Builder be used? So I would say AI Builder is a model, and like I just said, that it is the predict, so the CDS connector. So if we can now Power Automate, it can be called from Power Automate, and Power Automate can. So I have not seen any examples or API to directly get the models to be executed other than the connector that I have with the Predict connector. So I think Power Automate would be a way to go to use these models from AI Builder. But yeah, I have not seen any API. I'm happy to have any others chip in if they've seen it.
Yeah, no worry, Ruhi. Just in case, again, I would welcome to the Kaizala group. So we have again an example to use AIs and the machine learning via ASP.NET website. So I would be happy to give the reply to him.
Yeah, and I think for the in the interest of the entire audience, if and for myself as well, if you think that there is a way to get the AI builder models, specifically not really the machine learning Azure AI models, but specifically AI builder, the models that we develop in AI builder, if there is a way, I would be most interested in knowing as well. So if you can share, is there an API available that we could use to consume the AI models directly built out of the AI builder? This question was for Sachin, who was.
Yeah, Ruhi, I think so far so good. So probably Sachin will come back with data. I think he's just asked for the healthcare, and Yogesh Kumar already replied him with an example from for the AI builder in healthcare. So I think we are good. You can continue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So here in this in this example, so this is actually a Canvas app. Okay, so in this example, in the Canvas app, we're going to do a text recognition. So basically, I'm going to supply images of vehicles, and it is going to read the registration number and flash it on the text box over here. And as I said, it's then going to go back to the CDS database, look up for the contact registered against the registration number, and display the owner of the vehicle over here. So let me just actually go and play this Canvas app, and then I will come back over here and show you how this has been designed. So let me just pick up a car. So let me pick up car 7 or maybe car 11. So if you can see here, this is an example of how from within a Canvas app, I have called a flow. Okay, from the flow, it has I have called the text recognition model. Okay, the model has read the result. After that, I have submitted the result back to the CDS connector and look up from the CDS database the owner and display it over here. And you would be surprised to know that there are only 2 lines of code to get this working. So this entire thing is a control which you can just simply add from here in the AI builder. Okay, text recognizer. All I have done is drag and drop over here. That's it. Nothing else required. Okay, now on the on change, so when an image is submitted for the kind of automation that you just saw over here, what we've done is on the on change of this, so text recognizer will has a property called selected text. The selected text is the yellow area that is highlighted. In the previous when I ran that app, you saw that there was a yellow box that was highlighted. Now that is the text that it has recognized from this entire image that has been supplied, and you were so it and there could be more than one text. So so while I was working and exploring this, there were some images of the cars that had so something. Take for example this very image that we have over here. There is actually some text written over here just about the number plate, which is probably the brand of the car. Okay, now since it was not too very visible in this image, it did not actually capture that image. But if it was, there are examples where if the image of the car has the brand of the car clearly visible, it even identifies that as a text. In which case, if you can see over here, text recognizer, the result is actually a collection of objects. That's because there could be more than one text that it has recognized in the image. So for our example, I'm going ahead and taking the very first image, the very first text that you see. So again, this is not production level design that I'm demonstrating, but basically the capabilities of the AI model is what I'm demonstrating over here. So what it does is it picks up by default the first text that the model has recognized, and whatever is the text is what is being displayed in the text box in the registration number. Then just a notification being shown to say that the text recognition functionality is completed, and now we are going to the flow side of it. Now in the flow, if you see, I have actually called, this is a Canvas app, and I have actually called a flow from within this action over here. So Power App / list record is actually a Power Automate flow. So dot run, and as a parameter, I am passing the contact. Okay, so this is a parameter that that it is going to pass with the pass to the flow that has been defined over here. Now let me just switch over here to the flow. Okay, so here, find vehicle owner. This is a flow that has been defined. This is the flow that is actually being called from the Canvas app. If you click edit over here, okay, so this is a Power Apps flow Power Apps flow that has been defined. So there's no trigger. I actually need to call it from the Canvas app as I shown in the previous screen. Now from here, I am calling a child flow. In the child, so I've designed one more flow, which is, and from here I'm calling a child flow. Why did you want to do this? That's because for some reason, if I had, if I was interacting with the CDS connector and steps and actions out of a CDS connector, I was not able to add this flow or call this flow from my Canvas app. So as a workaround, in the main flow, I have not actually included anything. There is just the flow, and there is a output that is being returned back to the Canvas app. All of the actual work is being done in this child flow that is there. Now, as a part of the child flow, I am passing that same parameter. So if you remember, I had called the flow with a parameter of contact, and that is the same contact that is being passed over here as a part of the query that goes to the child flow. The child flow is going to return the name of the owner, which is being displayed over here. As an output, it is being returned back. So now let me just even open this child flow and show you how that works. And I think I am already running out of time, but I'll just do this quickly. So here is my child workflow. And this is your proper CDS flow that we have. Okay, so this again starts with the Power Apps because it is going to behave as a child flow, and it's going to be called from some other place. Initialize a variable, which is what I'm going to return back to the Power App or the flow from where we are being called. In the list record, I'm searching for the contact with the parameter that has been received from the Power Apps. I get the result, okay, and I return this back over there, okay. So this is how, with the help of just that one, so if you notice, I did not write anything specifically or rocket science about reading or doing anything about reading these text out of this, extracting this text out of this image. It was done just by this control automatically. I didn't do anything. I'm just using the text recognizer that's already there over there. Moving forward to the next example that I have over here, which is here. So the next example over here is about the vehicles that I was talking about. So this is now a model-driven app, and in this model-driven app, I'm going to upload an image. So let me do again a car image. Okay. So once this car is uploaded over here, there is again a Power Automate flow that is being executed behind the scene, which uses the object detection model. So I have trained the model with the images of cars and autos, and it is going to so the image that I've uploaded here is being submitted to the model over there. The model is going to identify what it is, and it is going to return it to me. So let me just refresh the screen. Because Power Automate flows are asynchronous and they run behind the screen. If you see over here in the description, you see car. That's because I uploaded the image of a car. Let me go back over here, and here, object detection. This is my flow. Okay, so when I record get an image of file, so from here the default image is what I picked that image. Now I had created models. So if I go to my AI models, okay, here's my model. I have actually submitted images over here. So if I say edit model, and creating model is super simple. All you need is just to make sure that you have enough images available of the items that you want to or the categories that you want to identify or the objects you want to identify out. And once that is done, so see, these are the only steps that you need to do, which is select the domain. So if it's a brand, it's a brand. If not, it's a common object that you'll go ahead with. You will next define the objects. So in my case, I have done autos and cars over here. Once I have done that, you can go ahead and design as many as you want. In my case, I've just taken the example of these two. Move next. Now is the time to upload your images. So you can upload your image from your local database or a SharePoint or Azure Blob Storage. Once you have, so let me just give you, I'll just upload one image just to show you how this works. So when you upload the image, after the image is, okay, I think I don't have any new images, but once the image is uploaded, if you go next, okay, it's going to list out all of the images that you have over here. And if you choose this, it is going to highlight what it has detected. And then what you can do is actually click over here and then select. So instead of car, if I wanted this to be auto, okay, I can just choose this auto, and that's how it's going to be applied. Okay, you can select multiple tags for one image. So you can see that I have tagged it as a car and as a auto. So you can apply if I had an image that had a car and an auto, then in that image I could select one part that was a part of auto, and then say this is an auto, and the highlight the other part that includes the car, and say this is a car in a single image itself. So this is how you go about training your models. And once your model is trained, I have just whatever image I've read from the CDS, from the entity, I pass it over here. Once I pass it over here, again, like I said, it can identify more than one objects, and that's the reason why there is an apply to each thing which is going on. So the results will include all of the images that it has identified. And I'm just creating a string or a list of all. So if it was an image with a car and an auto, it would have returned 2 tags for me. It would have returned 2 results. So I'm just including the tags over here, and whatever the result after concatenating all the tags that I received for every for the image, I am going back and updating the record in the tags in the description. This is how submitting one image in a model driven app has actually helped me just identify and create tags out of it with absolutely no code, zero code. And the third example that of sentiment analysis, which I wanted to include over here. So I have this example of Outlook email as well, but I will take this example. Now this is an example that is out of their ready to use models. So I did nothing over here, literally nothing. So you use the Twitter connector, and when a new tweet is posted, what is the search text? It requires a search text that you would like it to follow. And so Power Platform is the text that I've submitted. So every time anybody submits a tweet with the hashtag Power Platform, it's going to be picked up, and the tweet is going to be passed to the model. So for those who are asking about languages, especially when we're doing a sentiment analysis, it is important to provide which language the current content that you're providing is, so that it can do appropriate sentiment analysis. So Twitter returns the language code. So I have used the tweet language code or tweet language that is already available as a part of the first step that we have over here, and the tweet text. Now once this is done, in the next step I could again add a common data service connector and store this. In case of a negative tweet, I could send an email out, or I could actually just submit this back to CDS. So in this example I have not included, I've just stopped it over here. And again for this one I can show you some of the active results. So if you can see, at an interval of 1 hour, this the Twitter connector actually triggers every 1 hour. It will read through all of the tweets for the Power Platform hashtag that is there. And so if you can see all runs, this is the entire run history since I had developed. So currently I have switched off this flow because it would have just consumed all of my flows and I wouldn't be able. So I have stopped this and I will actually just open up one of the succeeded flows to show you how this works and what it did. So when the flow, when the tweet was posted, so here is a tweet, Lisa from Lisa M. Crosby, come on Aussies, hack for good, is running in your time zone on 2nd May, shaping up the biggest global event. Now, when this was submitted to the sentiment analysis model, now again for the unlike the object detection model where I had to supply images and train my model, for the sentiment analysis model I did not have to do anything. These are ready to use models that are being supplied by Microsoft already. So all I had to do is select the sentiment analysis model. I didn't even have to create my own model. So just selecting the sentiment analysis model, it used the text of this tweet and this is what it returned. This is the result. Now the global sentiment according to it is negative. So when it is negative, again, if I had a step below, it would have actually sent an email out or it would have created. And then, so if you see there is, it returns everything. It returns what's the positive ratio, is it a neutral one, is it a negative confidence, what is the percentage in each of this that is there. And then whatever results you get out of it, you can use it in the steps further. So here are the 3 examples that you can do. So one I have shown ready to use, using it in Canvas app, using it in Power Apps, and doing nothing and still getting your results out example as well, as you can see in this one here. So yeah, that is all that I had for my presentation here. And Jiva, if you have any questions, happy to take them now.
Thanks, Rohit. It was a wonderful session, and people are so much excited, and we have lots of questions for you. The first one would be, so from Vikesh Kumar. So how do we create a block or text area that needs to be identified?
Okay, so let me just find
that can be ignored. I think it's already.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Sure. And the next one from Archana. Does this text detector include can detect handwritten letters as well, or just detects only the digital letters?
I have not tried with handwritten letters, but I think it should be able to do that as well. But I did not really submit any handwritten content to it, and it's all I think it should be able to pick it up. Okay. But I haven't tried it personally.
Okay, and then there is one from Naresh Soni. Can text detection be done on PDF files or just for fetching totals from bills? I mean, I think he's asking many. Can you just read all the text or just a total? I think he's talking about.
I think if it is a PDF, it would be better if you get into the form processing mode, because that way you will be able to identify the single field of total from where you need to take it. If it is about, there are multiple texts that are there and you want to total all of it. So currently it is the text detection is accepting images. So if you take images and you have a list of numbers printed over there, it will probably identify, or like I said, it returns OCR objects. It returns a collection of all the text identified from there. So then you can use your logic to run across all of the values that it is identified from that image and do your calculations.
Okay, and we have 2 more questions, but they want to ask you directly. So first, I would suggest Manas, can you unmute yourself and ask Ruhi?
Yeah, I think Archana has already answered, but still I will ask. Suppose if I would like to count the stock as you mentioned in your PPT, we can have a physical count and then we can have a stock in the warehouse. So if I click one picture which covers a whole warehouse, let's say picture which includes a lot of articles and a lot of items, so can this builder can count the stock easily, or we have to train lot in that sense?
So again, it is like I said in my previous example, when we are talking about object detection, it is going to detect multiple objects. So when you take an example of a shelf, and if there are like 5 different items that are placed, so there is one Coke, there's one Pepsi, there's one Mountain Dew or something like that has been there, and you've taken an image and you've trained your model, it will actually identify the three out of that one single image that is over there. And then like I said, you will so these are going to be returned as OCR objects by them, and then the count is what you will have to start doing. So it will return tags on I found one Mountain Dew, I found one Coke, I found one Pepsi, and then you will have to do look through the results and actually do the calculations, if it makes sense.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Rohi. And since we are running out of time, we have a last question. And that's going to be from Rifakat Jumani. So, yeah, please go ahead
Yeah,
and mute and ask. Yeah.
yeah. Hi everyone. Hi Ruhi. Thanks for the wonderful session. I did not cover it entirely, but I get a chance to hear you for 30 minutes and it was really excellent. Just a quick question from my end is like you showed how we can, use the Twitter platform to, get to capture the tweets that have been published over the internet for particular hashtags. All
Right.
I want to do is something similar for LinkedIn and Facebook, suppose. And what I want to do is whomsoever captures me or tags me in the comments or the post or the articles, I want them to come as an opportunity in my dynamic CRM. So is that possible? I don't want to go much detail in here right now because I know you are running out of the time, but if any quick information you can share, because that I can do with HubSpot CRM system very well.
Okay, so with Power Automate, the first thing to see is do you have a connector for it? So if I can look up a connector for Facebook, then you need to see. So forget templates. Let me just say create and say new automated flow. Okay, search for all triggers. So let me see if there is a Facebook trigger. So looks like there is no Facebook connector. So the power of Power Automate is with its connectors. So if there is a LinkedIn connector or if there is a Facebook connector, so if you notice in my example of Twitter, there was a Twitter connector, which is what I used. Okay, so I did not really create
Right.
it was already there. So if you can if there is already a published connector for LinkedIn and Facebook, you should be very easily be able to do it. If you do not if there is not one available, and if you have development skills, then you can actually create a connector. So these are all published connectors, Twitter and stuff like that, but nobody stops you from creating your own connector. So you and very easily you can go ahead and create your own connector to do that. So it is Power Automate is all about connectors.
Right. Thanks a lot, Rohit. This answers me, gives me a good hint of getting ahead with this query.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Sorry to chime in. So there are some connectors with Facebook, and I'm not sure why it's not popping up now. But there are connectors to read the wall post and all those things like that. Probably you can check it out later, Rafiki. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And so for that's all, Rohi. So we don't have any. Okay, there's one more question from Vikar. So he just posted now. Can we do AI model on a data present in a CSV file?
What AI model would you like to do on a CSV file? If you can explain it further, could you elaborate further?
Bihar, you can go on mute and you can ask Rohit directly.
Yeah, hi. Basically, we have used data related to, let's say, airlines-based data, where you have different, like we can do the AI modeling for text sentiments or something like that. Categorization basically. So we can define a model and then we can execute the
So
the
so
AI that.
so if you're talking about the text classification model, if
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
talking about? So
yeah, yeah.
like I so in my example, in my example, if you see, um, so AI model is just an action, right? Predict is just an action. So if you're talking about CSV, if you have tons of text in a CSV format, then you could use the CSV connector to actually read that. So if you have put that CSV on a SharePoint or a OneDrive something, you could use a OneDrive or SharePoint connector that will allow you to read the file. Then you can pass the data, you can loop through the data in that file and pass. So similar to like what I have an apply to each over here, you could have an apply to each at this step over here. So the first step would be from SharePoint, connect to SharePoint. Then second step is read that file, then loop through. So in a for each, for every result that you've read from your CSV file, you could put this predict within the for each loop and pass one sentence at a time to the predict and choose the uh, text classification model over here, and it should do your job. I think so.
Okay, thanks. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rui. I think we're done with the questions. Thanks for a wonderful session again.
And thank you, thanks Jiva, and thanks everybody for joining in at this. Thank you so much, and please do not forget to please provide
Yeah,
your feedback.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna share the
Yeah.
feedback forms and